Alrighty, thank you very much for hanging around for this brief Q&A. So it's just a little bit of preview of at a very early stage. Of this work which is in development and will go on in many stages to come. So be kind. We will invite questions from the floor a little bit later. I'll ask a few questions just to get us started there. Yeah, might as well get started. All right. So, Michelle St. Anne, lovely lady. Congratulations on a fantastic performance. I am indeed. And special thanks to Eloise for the place for preparing these questions for me, which I can almost read. So, in tonight's performance, Michelle, you promised to reveal fragments and images from the rehearsal floor, which will ultimately form the foundation of your completed work. Was it difficult to allow people to peek inside your work at such an early stage in the creative process?
Yeah, one word, yes.
Would you like to
Do you understand?
Yes, you understand.
I don't understand.
No.
Yeah, he's a school
stand
teacher.
on the chair.
Okay, so early on in the process, yes, because I've never opened up my work so early on. And I got used to it when I was at VCA because we always had to show our work. Oh, poor mum, look at mum coming in. Always trying to upstage me. This is and so, yes, it is a frightening thing because we're always working part-time. Artists are always working part-time. So it's very difficult to kind of share something that you don't actually know what the animal is.
Okay. Are you going to stay out there, Rome, or are you coming in?
You've got to be
Ever work with children and animals? I think we can add one to the list there. But Michelle's done it all, believe me. Which brings us back to this piece. What inspired this piece, a Requiem for Anastasia? And I think I can give you a sneak tip here. This is a first for everyone, that the show's actually already changed its name from Anastasia to
Lola, for obvious reasons.
So what inspired this piece, Requiem for Anastasia or Lola?
Okay, so it's not happy days. Well, your dad passing, I had the privilege of being with him when he passed, and I've been in the family for 27 years, so he was very much like my dad. And I was amazed, he had advanced dementia, and I was amazed watching how the body kind of shut itself down. It was really intense, and then Mum's neighbour passed away and was dead for 2 months before they found her. And then there was that smell, and I thought that was kind of, how does this happen in a small community? And I thought it was just the Greek neighbours that had put blood and bone on the veggie patch, because I couldn't believe that a dead body would just smell like blood and bone. I thought it would be far more offensive than that. And so that was kind of quite confronting, because with Mum living on her own and being Catholic, I've got the guilt of, have you rung your mother? And so I'm thinking about what that would be like as if she passed and she was on her own, which would be horrific for me. Not obviously for you too, Mum. And at that point, my boss, or rather one of my bosses, who's sitting over there, is doing a project on heat wave. Well, there's a series of shock climate events. Heat waves is one of them, and heat waves is the highest killer of all natural disasters. Thank you. Yes, but nobody talks about it because it's a silent killer. You haven't got that clickbait. You haven't got those fabulous, sexy photos of winds and water and all of that. So basically, you've got people like this old biddy, all on their own. And I know that's not funny, but really that's what you're seeing, and that's what I'm trying to present in this work, is that it's people that look like that we don't actually see in society. We don't look at old people anymore. We don't hear the way that they move. So that whole idea about hearing Mum cleaning her teeth, or like not being able to use the microwave and beep, 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 beep. that's what's happening to our elderly, and they're doing that on their own. And they're so stoic, so we actually don't know. We actually don't know that that whole world is crumbling. So I guess that's where it sort of stuck for me. The fact that I would be able to have some community data, so it wasn't only about my mother and my personal life, but it was something universal. And then David actually introduced me to another researcher, and he said, "Oh, you've got to meet this guy, you know, it's great." And, you know, he usually has boring friends, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, right." And it was Ollie J up the back, and he was like the best. He was so generous with his research. He was open to what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do. So that ended up being a really fabulous kind of dating scenario. And then I went out to Westmead, and he's got this lab out there where you walk in there and you have to sit in 45 degrees. I lasted 10 minutes. And I was like sweating. There was this gorgeous blonde on this treadmill. And you know, with hugging clothes on, looking gorgeous, watching, I don't know, it wasn't the West Wing. I would have picked that, watching something. And I'm just like sweating. And so Ollie turned around and said, "You're really giving it, aren't you?" So that's kind of where the work has come from. So it blends the personal with the universal, with also the way that what I want to say in the world about climate change, which is where I spend my day job, all amongst climate change people.
Okay, thank you. And one more for you. An important aspect of your work is space. And so obviously this is a new space, and any of you have been lucky enough to see any of the previous shows know that Michelle also always inhabits a space, so and are often site-specific in this sense. So, and have, I guess, developed a response to the space. How did this particular venue dictate the form of the performance that we saw tonight?
Well, I had a bit of a heart attack because it's very clean and neat and tidy, and that's just not the spaces I'm used to. I'm used to like toilets that don't work, ghastly spaces. So I was a bit taken aback by this because it's very beautiful. The landscape outside is really beautiful. I love the streetscape, which we tried to use, and then the council decided to dig up the road. Totally stuffed up my hero image, so we had to like repack and restitch and recreate. And this park, I used to work not far from here in the late 80s, early 90s, I'm that old. This was quite a shock to me because this is where all the drug deals would go down and some prostitution just to throw it in. So now I see men in chambray shirts and nice pants playing with their kids who are dressed in like Gorman or stuff. So it's quite, I go, what am I supposed to do with this? I'm not quite sure. Sorry, is that bad?
I don't know any Gorman.
No, but I'm saying that all of this impacts what I do in here. So how do I stretch this space out? Where am I looking for the flows? So, you know, these doors open, so how does the energy flow through the room? And I thought, no, it's about death. So it needs to be that suffocation and this sense of something else beyond. So you've got that total entrapment and that whole line between here and that diagonal line. So that's what the space really taught me, and also that vestibule area, because of course it's a brand new building, as James said, but it also was an old building. So it used to be the Heffron Hall, and then so it's got some sort of skeleton to it. The ghosts aren't there, but that space to me has the ghosts, and I feel it. And I sound like a wanker, but I actually feel that's where the energy is until there's probably more step ball change going on in here, because there's ballet classes for little Liz. It's really cute.
That's great. We will throw to Lian now.
Oh my God, that's
Just
funny.
put you on the spot at the moment. I believe you've always often described working with Michelle as playing MSA style. So what does this mean for you, especially this early stage where maybe there's not a lot of words on the page?
Okay. Well, in particular, my entree into this work was quite recent, so I haven't been given any background information except that I actually learned more tonight just then about what this work was about.
They never listen.
Yeah, whereas previously we worked on Shiny Bugs at Night, and there was a fantastic text that we were working with, a book that was written about hysteria in the 19th century, whereas this one, I feel like Michelle's still unveiling, like digging into the data and the work. But as a performer, It's just really joyous, a lot of fun to come into this space with Michelle, and she's very, very generous in like holding the space and allowing you to play and like work stuff out, like work out materials. Like Alicia and I, she'll give us put on some fantastic music and give us a couple of ideas on image, and then let us like free roam for a while. And I guess you're also then like picking out little nuggets and stuff, and then sort of folding it back into your incredible imagination. Michelle is one of the most amazing imaginations I've come across, and very fertile, and these whole worlds get created that you kind of get drawn into, and very much in the physical language as well. So it's which I love that it sort of ranges across the body and text and materials and space and a whole lot of different languages which you can really play with. But you set it up so well that even if you feel like you're not very good at something, Michelle makes you feel like really special. I think you get a lot of, you set it up so you really get people, I feel very comfortable in playing and going into vulnerable spaces.
Alicia, what was your take on the playing Anastasia style?
This is my second piece working with Michelle. Previously, so I did Black Crows only a few months ago, and it was a wonderful experience because, like Lian said, there's so much freedom to create and explore what Michelle is, curious about, and I echo a lot of Michelle's interests, particularly working with nature and climate. So for me, it's just deepening my creative process as well, and I just adore Michelle's creative process and vision, and being able to just be the paint or the clay that she wants me to be, and I just go for it, and she will just be there, just to the left or whatever it might be, and
do it better. Whatever you do, do it better.
But yeah, it's often I don't know what she's looking for, but there's, I don't know, it's just about going and playing, and painting, as you like to say, painting, and I'm quite image-based as well, and movement, so it's a great partnership. It's a beautiful partnership.
Okay, so Michelle, then there are other people in the room, so that's what you want the actors, the performers to experience. What about the audience? What do you think, what do you want them to experience when they come to see a work like this?
I guess I just want them to access their imagination. I don't think we have enough time to think, we don't have enough time to dream, and there's not enough time to do nothing. And I think doing nothing is like the best thing in the world. It's the best pleasure in the world. And I hope that when people come to see my work, it is an active experience, but hopefully I slow the world down so that you can actually take time to, as our tagline is, take time to look at things differently. And that's really what I am really trying to do with audiences, is just give them space, like I give my performances.
Okay, then I guess I can now turn it over to the audience. If there's any burning questions that are on your minds, we'll take a couple there because we don't want to keep you here all night. And please be kind because they've just got off the floor and it's all pretty raw. So, are there any questions from the audience at all?
I've got a question. Michelle, what stage is this?
This would be, if this was a pregnancy, this is before sex. and I mean that literally. I mean this is where I'm flirting, where you're flirting with the other person, going, "What have you got? What have you got?" Because and that's what, to me, that's what it feels like. That's why I feel so vulnerable putting out a work so early on in the period, because I actually don't know whether this baby's, what this baby's going to be. White, like totally Indian. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I know she's going to be a girl because I always make female works. But Alex and I are just, we've never worked together before. I've worked, can you believe it, with her parents, her father, and then her mother was. So her father is a composer and musician, Spence. and Sue Spence was the chair of living room theatre. And lo and behold, I didn't know I had a kid. Then this kid turns up, and she's just amazing. And I was like, oh, quickly, so I think I'm a bit of a Spence. Or they're saying names, I'm not quite sure. So I've never worked with that, so I don't know
Alex
what.
is doing yours, what sound?
Alex does sound, yes, yeah, but completely different to Alicia. So and the way she works is completely different because it's more installation based. So it's like, oh, who are you? What are you? Where are you going? Where these two sweetnesses, I've worked with them before, but you know, I've brought them into the process where I don't even know what it is yet. So normally I would at least be well beyond that period to give them actually have a fetus maybe. So that's. I see my works as my babies because I've only got cats.
So what is this for you? Given the vulnerability of showing the flirting and what you're talking about, the synergy that's going on between you as creators. Is this part of the creative process for you, and how do you understand that?
Yeah, so I think at VCA it really taught me to not be precious so early on in the stage, because we are constantly, every week we'd have to show our work, which is like was horrendous. I had never been in that environment before, and then leaving that construct, what it did teach me was how to take feedback and who to take feedback from. So I had amazing teachers who knew how to give me feedback to make me a better artist rather than me be there. And so opening it out this early in the process, I'm hoping that people will offer something, because I've never worked with heat. I've always worked with something that was cold and dank. And here I'm having to open out the body, and I'm not comfortable opening out the body.
We could give us all a wet towel to start
Yeah, maybe. But hopefully the senses will allow you to feel heat rather than be pumping up the heat. I want you to hear sounds, and you know, what is that Australian sound of heat? So I don't know. Yeah, I think opening this out so early in the process is allowing me to kind of say, well, it is what it is, and hopefully whoever's watching it is not judging me as an artist, but saying, oh, I wonder how that is going to end up in the show. And then when they see the show, they go, well, what happened to that? That was my favourite part. And knowing what it is, the despair of an artist who says, that was a fucking corker, but it doesn't fit this narrative. And being able to say, that's got to go into the drawer. So it is about sharing that pain, because I think so many times the general public doesn't know the pain and anxiety of the artist process. And you can tell by Jill Sykes' review of 7 Ways. It was just totally, it was rude, and I'm outraged by that, because they don't know what it feels like to put work out there. Oh, look at me, I'm cranky. I didn't mean to get cranky.
Can we ask, you get really meditative, you know, it's like everything's so slowed down, it gives people, the audience, time to meditate. And I've seen about 3 of your shows, and they've all got that quality, which you don't see in a lot of theatre. And that's what I really appreciate. It's not a question, it's just the place.
Thank you, because people like get cranky with me because I work so slow.
Yeah, no, but that's the beauty of it, to me.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No, I never felt like this was kind of translated.
That's because you're a Catholic. I think Killian had one last question.
Let me last question.
And Arnie's got a question. Oh no.
Yeah, I really enjoy your work, Michelle. It's an antidote to realism. It's called surrealism. It's about dream. It's about our inner lives. It's about things that we can't express necessarily in language, and I think it's really important to explore that side of the world. And I think it's lovely that you're looking at the problem of age, because God knows that's going to face us all somewhere along the line, and it's something that our society doesn't cope with. It turns a blind eye to. I think it's really thinking.
It's Arnie Neely. He was my method teacher at acting school, so that means like a million. Bless you.
Maybe one final question up the back.
Well, you were talking a little bit about sound and process before, and I was just hoping to hear a little bit more about that, maybe from Alex and from Michelle. Bearing in mind this obviously is still in process, but how's that working? How does sound work into your process? What's it been like for you, Alex? I just want to know more about that because I thought it was awesome. Yeah.
I'll just pick this very quickly. I always start my work with sound. So I don't have language, I don't have imagery, I have a piece of music that I dream into. I've always struggled with working with text in soundscapes. I've never quite got it right, I don't think. And I think that's where Alex's interest could actually feed my work. So I'll let you talk about, because Killian was the end piece, He's talking about Joe dying.
Yeah, it was. Tonight or today was the first time that I saw the work. So it was quite, an interesting experience writing music for something I didn't know what it looked like, or even really, like Lian was saying, Michelle's got this amazing imagination. So my idea of the work was just based off my imagining of Michelle's imagining. And there were lots of conversations, but there are so many threads to this work, so it was quite complex trying to work through it all and express death and hate and a lot of the sounds as well. Like Michelle said, she had certain sounds that she was working with, and some of the sounds, like the Gavin Bryars' Jesus' Blood, were Michelle's feelings of what worked with particular scenes. I did get sent a couple of short movie images of certain scenes, like the wrapping of the iceberg.
Oh, that's what it is. That's the ice shell.
And that really helped for me to understand pace, I suppose. And a lot of my work is quite meditative, or has a very slow textural feel to it. So I guess that was an immediate compatibility, or it helped that Michelle was into that kind of textural quality as well. Working with text, I don't really work with text either. I've started to involve a little bit of speaking in my own work, like lists of things, or kind of obsolete words that don't really mean anything, but just for the sound of the words, or the sound of speaking or whispering. So that was quite fun tonight, working, like the little live thing I did, working with everyone's little voice loops. And tapes, I really love tapes, and Michelle really loves tapes. So there were some tape loops, and that was a lot of fun. Like Ollie J's little 7 seconds of fame.
All right, well, I know I'm excited, and I want to see more. So where does the project go from here? There's obviously
we have the
other
sounds.
stages.
We have the sounds of climate change, which is my back catalogue of all the music that's been composed by Alicia, Spence, Lawrence English, Mary Rapp, and Alex is going to join on that as well. So you'll get a further understanding of the music that she's composing here in a completely different context, and that's on the 11th of January. So it's in Sydney Festival time, but it'd be great if you could come along to that. But the actual show opens in the 1st of March at the vet school, so it's a completely different environment. So you're going to be around horses and horses' bits. So I'll return back there, and then it has a second season at 107 Projects in May. And I don't know what that's going to look like. It's going to be this project, but it's going to be completely different. Maybe I'll bring a horse back. I don't know. But thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming.
Nothing to add, Roman? Okay. So, as you heard, the project's changed from Anastasia to Lola, and in January, very special event, What Lola Heard, the theatrical sounds from climate change. The Sydney Environment Institute, in association with the Living Room Theatre, presents this enhanced concert experience, really, bringing together acclaimed international musicians Alicia Spence, Mary Rapp, Alexandra Spence, Lawrence English in a virtual form, in conversation with David Rosner, who is the Professor of Theatre Science at LMU Munich, who we're fortunate enough to bring out for this project to see response. Michelle thought she was working all alone in a field, and lo and behold, somebody wrote a book about it. So it's very good to get him over.
They're in Europe. They're all middle-aged men.
David Rosner to talk about that, but also to interact with live musicians and virtual musicians in a response to climate change, using sound in a theatrical context as both a method and a metaphor, bringing audiences into an environment of the ear in a time of radical climate instability. So you don't want to miss that. So sign up to the newsletter or Facebook pages if you haven't already. Tell your friends. I know a lot of people missed out on tonight. You're lucky you got the hottest ticket in town. And thank you all very much for coming. One more round of applause.